All right, today we're going on a little journey, a secret journey, really. We're gonna follow a song from its wild success back in the 40s, where the story you probably haven't heard, all the way to a small local stage today. It's a pretty cool reminder that the best music, it just doesn't die.
So, let's kick things off with this quote. It's a bit of a mystery, right? This was said about a song that was, a total anthem. But what song are we even talking about? And for that matter, what in the world is jump blues?
Well, the song they're talking about is none other than Choo Choo Boogie. It was a huge hit back in 1948 by the incredible Louis Jordan and his Timpani 5. And look, this wasn't just another song on the radio. For a while there, this was the sound. This was it.
So, jump blues, what is it? It was just pure energy. You've got this super up-tempo, gotta get up and dance kind of music. It was sitting right at this perfect crossroads between old school blues and what was about to become rock and roll. Just think, fast, loud, and so much fun you couldn't sit still.
And let me tell you, people went nuts for it. Choo Choo Boogie stayed on the R&B charts for a whopping 18 weeks. That's more than 4 months at the top. It just goes to show how infectious that rhythm was, how it just grabbed everybody.
You know, this sound was basically a giant neon sign pointing to what was coming next. If you listen closely, you can hear the DNA of early rock and roll all over this track. It really was the bridge that took us from one musical era to a whole new one.
Okay, but this is where the story gets really interesting and kinda weird. The folks who actually sat down and wrote this R&B classic, yeah, they are probably the last people you'd ever guess.
So take a guess. Who do you think wrote this genre-defining hit? Some legendary R&B artist? A trailblazing blues musician? The real answer? Well, it's not that simple, but it's way more fascinating.
Get this. The songwriters were two guys named Denver Darling and Vaughn Horton, and they were known for, wait for it, country and western music. Isn't that wild? It's just such a cool, unexpected example of how genres have always been borrowing from each other. It's like great music just doesn't care about the labels we try to slap on it.
And the guy who really ties this whole thing together is the third name on that list, the producer, Milt Gabler. This is the crucial connection. Because not only did he work with Louis Jordan on this track, but he's also the guy who produced Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock. He literally bridged the gap between jump blues and the birth of rock and roll. Incredible.
Now, you might think that spirit of mixing genres and just making high-energy music you can dance to is a thing of the past, but it's not at all. So let's fast forward to right now and meet a band that's keeping that fire alive.
So just like Choo 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 Boogie was this amazing melting pot of sounds, you have this band from Guelph called Eclectic Vinyl Orchestra, or EVO for short, and they're doing the same thing. They're pulling from swing, a little klezmer, some New Orleans jazz, St. Louis blues, you name it. They mix it all together to create this sound that's totally their own.
And their whole mission, it's pretty simple, but it's also really powerful. They just want to keep the incredible, infectious energy of this music alive. See, they're not just covering old tunes, they're trying to bring back that same spark, that same feeling that made this music so revolutionary way back when. Of course, you don't just become a beloved local band overnight. It takes work. So let's take a quick look at EVO's journey and see how they actually built up such a loyal following.
You can see the dedication right here on this timeline. They started out playing their first gigs at a little cafe back in 2015. Just 3 years later, by 2018, they're selling out shows. They even kept going and released new music during the pandemic. It's just been this really steady, really impressive climb.
Right, but a band that plays this kind of vibrant live music, well, it needs a home. It needs a physical stage where people can actually feel that energy up close. And in Guelph, there's one place that's pretty much become the spot for that.
And that place is Manhattan's Bistro and Music Club. Seriously, this spot has been a local institution since 1993. It's exactly the kind of venue that builds a real, genuine connection between the musicians on stage and the people in the crowd.
People describe it as this intimate little supper club, which honestly is the absolute perfect vibe for the music EVO plays. This isn't some huge, anonymous concert hall. It's a place where you're right there, you can feel the music, and you really feel like you're part of the show. And you don't have to take my word for it, the reviews from people who go there really say it all. They might come for the great pizza, but they stay for the amazing music and the whole vibe of the place. It's that perfect mix that just makes for a night you're not gonna forget.
So all of this really brings our story full circle, doesn't it? We started with this historic song that had these totally secret roots, and we've landed with a modern band playing in a local club. And I think there's a really powerful lesson in there about how culture, how music, stays alive.
And this, right here, is the main point. Bands like Evo and places like Manhattan's, they're so much more than just entertainment. You can think of them as living, breathing archives. They are the reason the sounds and the stories of artists like Louis Jordan don't just get lost to time. They keep them vibrant, and they make them a real, living part of our communities today.
So we want to leave you with this one last thought. Musical history isn't always something dusty and locked away behind glass in a museum. Sometimes it's alive and well, playing on a stage in a small club, maybe right in your own town. So the question is, what forgotten sounds and secret histories are out there waiting for you to discover?